for attending and taking the time out of your day to look at how Laserfiche can work for building officials. ICC Community Development is part of the larger International Code Council, and ICC has brought together many solutions and services for government and organizations to run efficiently. We are here at ICC Community Development, the technical arm for ICC. And one of these solutions that we work with daily is Laserfiche for content management and process management. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Brian Hoodie, one of our solution architects. He's going to show you how Laserfiche will allow you to digitize all of your paper files and bring the benefits of digital transformation to your department and your entire organization. So thank you, Brian, and take it away.
Thanks, Liz. All right, so I'm going to show you guys Laserfiche. Just a reminder, this is kind of the back-end system to your permitting system or to your GIS system. It can hold all of the information relevant to building permits, maps, anything that is related to a project, et cetera, et cetera. And then we can turn around and we can display that to the public if we want to as well, and we'll go through all that. So I'm just going to log into the repository. You can log into the repository through any base internet browser. So any browser is good to go, whether you're talking about Chrome, Safari, Edge, Firefox, et cetera, et cetera. It also does have a mobile version as well. The mobile version allows for access through pretty much any device, including Android, iOS, and Windows surfaces. So that I like to talk about briefly because it does allow access to the device's camera, record video, audio, et cetera, and then upload it directly into the repository from the field if you want to. But basically, you can get to the repository from wherever you want to, within the field or within the office. There are two different versions of Laserfiche. There's a cloud version, which is stored in Amazon Web Services, and there's also an on-premise version of Laserfiche if you wish to store that within your own premises. When we log into Laserfiche, you can see that it's a folder-based application. Folder-based application is very much like Windows Explorer and very easy to learn, very easy to set up, and get started really quick with Laserfiche this way. It also translates over to the general public as well. So the general public could also, quote unquote, browse a folder structure and be able to find information that's associated with a particular parcel or permit, et cetera, et cetera. Laserfiche can control folder structures, naming conventions, et cetera, et cetera. There also is an index that goes hand in hand with Laserfiche documents or folders or both. It doesn't matter. All of this stuff is not set in stone, by the way. It's very customizable to your municipality. We realize that people will differ from place to place as far as how they use Laserfiche. But safe to say there's going to be some kind of identifier in there that will identify information such as a parcel ID or permit number, tax ID, et cetera, et cetera. That kind of information can also be used not just for searching purposes or organizational purposes, but can also be used for integration purposes. So again, this is the back-end system. This is kind of where we throw all our documents and store all of our documents. It is a DoD compliant records management system as well, so Department of Defense compliant for security, for records management. If you wanted to be able to manage the records to a specific state retention schedule, you can do that. Most places, though, most of these records are permanent or semi-permanent in nature, but safe to say you could put in a specific retention schedule with a cutoff instruction, et cetera, et cetera. Again, though, this information can be used to connect to a GIS system or a permitting system as well. So you can store your records in Laserfiche, the records management system, but still be able to get to said records from other applications. It can hold any kind of data too. We're looking at a scanned document, but it can hold any kind of electronic document. It doesn't care about what the size of an image might be. So if it's a map, you can throw a map in there. So if it's 46 by 36, it does not make a difference what size the document is. It will retain that size when you put it into the system. In the grand scheme of municipal government, I would say that the building department is a close second to the clerk's department on needs for some kind of content management system or Laserfiche type system to hold the records. We realized that over the 25 years that we've been implementing Laserfiche system, building, planning, zoning, health, etc., tends to have a lot of records, and they tend to be scattered all over the place. They tend to be all sorts of different sizes and types, and safe to say we can bring that information together within the Laserfiche system. It does have the ability to redact, put on stamps, etc., etc. So if I needed to redact out specific information about an individual, for example, I can go ahead and do that. Again, I mentioned security earlier. We can have it set up so that certain people have rights to make changes to the documents, aka add a redaction, add pages, subtract pages, move things around, index, as well as being able to prevent people from making those changes and having read-only access, all the way down to not having any access to a document at all. So you can control how somebody accesses the information within the Laserfiche repository. There's a lot of different annotations associated with Laserfiche. You could theoretically use some for plan review. You could draw shapes and stuff like that, polygons. None of these are making actual changes to the underlying image. These are overlays on the documents themselves. So there's a whole bunch of annotations that are available within the Laserfiche system. Once you get all the information into the system, then it really becomes the searching that makes a huge difference in Laserfiche. So the ability to search within the repository is second to none. And I can do just a quick keyword search and locate information within the repository. And I can click on a folder or a document name, or I can click on the document itself and find a specific hit within that document, and I can double click it, and I can go directly to that particular part of the document, and I can bounce through the document and look at all the different hits. And it does have some error checking, so we can find additional information too. So in case somebody spelled something, or it's a person's last name, a road name, bridge name, it'll fill in some of the blanks for us as well. So I can just bounce through that document and look at all the different hits within that document. I also have the ability to say, all right, I found a whole bunch of information associated with that particular search. I want to search within a specific section of the repository rather than the entire repository. So I can add a filter in here. And you can save all of these searches too. Okay, I don't have to create the search every single time. I can just go ahead and save them and reopen them just as an FYI. I'm going to go into within a folder, however, and we're going to look at that really quick. So I can search the entire repository, aka whatever I have access to, or I can search within a specific folder. So I can browse the folder structure, drill into the folder structure, go to the minutes folder, hit OK, and then redo the search. And now I'm presented with a lot less results this time around than the first time. So I'm finding less results that way by saying I want to go within a specific piece of the repository rather than the entire repository. Okay, and you can also search on indexes. So you've got the text-based search, but you can also search on an index as well. So if I wanted to look for a specific address, I could do that as well. And again, I can save these searches. So just as an FYI, I'm going to go to the building permits. I'm going to type in 240 Anderson Ave. I'm going to search. I'm going to find those records again in the sea of records, and it doesn't matter at this particular point if it's handwritten or not. I can find it based upon the indexing information within the document that I put onto the document itself. So the address, section, block, and lot. Again, anything that makes you happy as far as indexing information is concerned. So, and this is the big lift, obviously. You have to get indexing information in it. There are a variety of ways you can do that. A lot of people do backfile scanning and have vendor index the information. You can also use Laserfiche. Laserfiche does have a variety of tools, such as Laserfiche quick fields and capture profiles, which allows us essentially to auto-index information and to find information on a specific piece of the repository. So when I'm looking at a specific document here that has information on it in a static nature, I can go ahead and set up SBL, owner, et cetera, Swiss contractor, and pull that information directly off of this particular permit. And then I can go ahead and I can file that information within the Laserfiche repository, create a folder structure, name the document, et cetera, automatically based upon quick fields. So I'm just going to run it really quick. So I'm going to start this, and what it's going to do is going to pull a batch in through the scanner. It's going to process those documents based upon an identifier, and then it's going to process each page based upon what information it finds on that page, and it can create a new document then based upon that information as well. So to run through that quick field session and then process those documents for us. There also is something for Laserfiche Cloud called Capture Profiles, which is similar, but can pull information off a specific purchase order, for example. So I can create different purchase order information and pull the information off that as well. So there's several ways that we can do this. We can also pull information into an index via a lookup. Laserfiche does have the ability to integrate with third-party information. So pull a database and pull up information based upon a parcel ID, for example. So owner and address, et cetera, from a third-party system. So you can see it building out the information here. It pulls off information directly and then dumps it into the index fields for me. So I don't really have to type anything. It's not 100% process. You're going to have to check it over as well and make sure that all the information is there, but it's really kind of a quick check as you move through the different documents. Just see the application permit types change depending on what kind it is. And on the back end, I can actually send this to assessors and say, I need you to assess such and such a property based upon criteria that was or was not found on this monthly permit report. So, okay. So you can also automate a lot of stuff within Laserfiche. Once you get the information in Laserfiche, you're able to search it, you're able to find it, et cetera, et cetera. You're also able to turn it over to the public if you so desire. So the big goal in municipal government is to provide service to the constituency. It's also to kind of keep the constituency happy and hopefully prevent them from doing freedom of information requests. So if we can prevent them from doing freedom of information requests, that would be prime as well. So we're going to look at a series of different municipalities across the country that use Laserfiche Public Portal, forms, or integrations directly with Laserfiche, okay? So we've got the town of Southold who's had Laserfiche for a long time. If I click on the town records link right here, what happens is that it boots into the Laserfiche Public Portal. Again, via security, I'm only going to see documents that I'm allowing the constituency to see. I'm not providing access to my HR records or anything else. I'm providing them access to records that are open in nature. And again, if I need to close some of that information off, I can use security to do that, or I can use a redaction to do that. But if I wanted to provide them with flood maps, I could provide them, the constituency, with flood maps. They can go ahead and they can look at those records. Again, using the folder structure to browse the information rather than having to try to do a search. Searches are there though, just as an FYI. You can set up the searches as well. And you can make them search on a specific target as well, like a specific address field, for example, or a parcel ID field. You can also take a copy away, so you can actually print a PDF copy out as well if you want to. And here's another municipality, Benton, who has a very similar setup, but allows access to the records through specific links in Laserfiche Public Portal. So if I wanted to go to the community development section of Laserfiche, I can click on that, and that's going to bring you directly into the community development section of Laserfiche and allow you to browse specific sets of folders rather than going to just the entire repository. This is going to actually control what information they can see. So this is the minutes for planning and zoning, for example. So I can go and look at any of the historical information that's available through the Laserfiche Public Portal. You can also do forms in Laserfiche. So any base internet form could be created through a Laserfiche forms process. It can also route for approvals, all kinds of fun stuff like that. So what we have here is one of my favorite forms, the chicken keeping registration. Rather than letting the chickens run, helter-skelter through the city, there is a specific code that needs to be followed, and this just happens to be in the realm of the zoning department. So if I click on off their webpage, if I click on the registration form right here, what that does is it slapshots me into a Laserfiche form. And this is a nested form, so it can do other things too, and it goes to different departments. Like I'm doing a residential parking permit, then that's going to do a parking permit, but I'm interested in applying for a chicken license, so that's going to send it then to that particular part of the form. It's going to show me maybe some city code it's involved with that particular process, and then I'm forced as a constituent to fill out various pieces of information before I can actually submit the form, as well as upload a copy of my certificate of completion, sign it, hit the caption button, and then submit it. When it gets submitted into the city, it goes to the zoning department, who then picks it up, looks at the certificate, makes a decision as to whether or not to approve it. If it's denied, you can send an email back out to the constituents and saying, like, yeah, well, this is not a valid certificate of completion. You need to go get a certificate of completion. Or if it's approved, it can have a permit on it as well. So I can send it through an email, for example. So it can do that kind of automation work directly through Laserfiche forms. And again, any base forms process that you can think of, whether it's paper-based or electronic, Laserfiche can do. And again, it has that extra step or steps of being able to route it through for approval to the people who need to see it. And it does have reporting capabilities. I can tell, who has what, when they have it, and where they are with the task, as well as some reminders, or route it if somebody doesn't do a specific task after a specific period of time. So the Laserfiche forms is also very popular these days. And then you also have your integration piece with Laserfiche. And there's traditional API integration that you can do. So Laserfiche does offer an API exposing its code for custom integrations with third-party applications. Again, it's very open to integration because it tends to be the back end. It tends to be the records management system where the records should be stored rather than having them stored in paper, electronically on your desktop, in some kind of GIS system, or in some kind of, other electronic systems. So we're going to try to control access to the record through the Laserfiche system. And with specific information like a parcel ID or a tax map ID, something to that extent, something unique to that parcel, I can go ahead and I can do a search. I'm searching from the constituent's point of view, right? I'm searching an address. Just typing in search. And when I find that parcel, I can click on it. And then I can actually, once I click on it, expose the link layer on the left-hand side through the GIS application. And when I do that, I can search within the Laserfiche repository for any legacy documents that might be associated with this particular parcel. Click on that link, and then it brings me into the Laserfiche public portal, and it displays all documents that are associated with 410 Main Street through the public portal, and only 410 Main Street. Okay, so it's not going to show me other places. It's showing me information, again, based upon 410 Main Street. And it's using the parcel ID here and the parcel ID here to match the systems together. It's really what they call a soft integration. It's really not a hardcore integration that happens to be going on at that point in time. Okay, so I'm going to look now at a blight tracker. This is through Esri. And this uses Laserfiche public portal, and it also uses Laserfiche forms. So in combination with Esri to actually provide information to the constituency based upon a property that has a blight notice that's been associated with it. So I can browse the map and then simply click on a red parcel. And when that happens, it brings up the information about that particular property. And then I can click on the link. And what that does is it drills into Laserfiche public portal, and it displays the information about that particular parcel and the steps that have currently been taken with that particular parcel. And this is done through this part is done through Laserfiche public portal, but the actual tracker right here is being using Laserfiche forms essentially to fill out that information. So it moves it through a specific process, and it moves it through the first notice sent, first civil infraction sent, etc. So it moves it through the whole process, and then that document ends up here in the public portal so somebody can review and see what's going on with that particular parcel. So again, it's using a parcel ID to do that, to make that match between Esri and Laserfiche. Okay, so again, it provides that integration piece quite nicely through the Laserfiche public portal. And these are just some of the tools that we can use within Laserfiche to not only get information out to the public, but also to automate processes. And again, try to cut down on the number of copies that we might have scattered throughout the municipality, whether it's paper, electronic, or in other systems. We can use Laserfiche as the back-end system to basically control access to the records that way. Okay, so we always know where the base record is in Laserfiche, and we know that it hasn't been altered, because it also does, by the way, have an audit on the back end as well. So it does every document or folder is being audited by the Laserfiche. That audit can tell me who's made changes to it, who's added, subtracted, viewed it, searched it, et cetera, et cetera. So for compliance purposes, the auditing is there as well. So, so that's it. That's my little spiel about Laserfiche. Again, for most building planning and zoning departments, it's the back end, but I also have people who in those departments who use it every single day to find records, input records, and again, supply information to back to the general public as well. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Brian, so much for your time today. We do have a couple questions, if you don't mind staying on and answering these couple of things.
Sure.
The first one is a pretty basic question, actually. It's how many is the Laserfiche system? How many users can use it?
Oh yeah, that's totally up to you. So some systems start at as low as 1 to 5 users, and you have the ability to go as high as you want as far as full users is concerned. And you also have, as I mentioned earlier, the ability to purchase read-only licenses as well. Read-only licenses, exactly that. They can only look at the repository, they can search it, but they can't make any changes. Those licenses are a lot cheaper than the full licenses, but it doesn't really matter. If you have a mix of those, you got 200 full licenses. We got clients who have hundreds of full licenses and hundreds of retrieval licenses, all the way down to just a few licenses. So we kind of spread the whole gamut as far as licensing is concerned, and the numbers.
Thank you. We have another question here, and I think you may have brought it up at the beginning, but I think want to reiterate it. I think the question was, I know that you brought up that this is a cloud solution, and also can be used on your municipal servers. And could you just speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the cloud system has AWS behind it. So there is certain things that are taken care of, such as the server, the database, the disaster recovery, the storage. All of the updates for Laserfiche are done automatically. So basically, it really takes a lot of work away from the IT department as far as not having to worry about maintaining Laserfiche. So access is through AWS, and there's the ability then to just kind of get to it from pretty much anywhere you want to, and set it up that way too. The on-premise system will run with your Windows servers and your version of Laserfiche, not Laserfiche, but of Microsoft SQL. And so you control it. There's benefits to both. I mean, with the on-prem, you have the ability to tap into third-party data a little bit easier than you do on the cloud. You can get onto your own servers, you can get into your own database, you can do all that kind of fun stuff because you have access to all that information. Whereas in AWS, that's all taken care of by them. You don't have direct access to databases and storage and that kind of stuff. It's just kind of all in the background. So those are the two systems that are kind of out there these days and available for purchase.
Thank you, Brian. And I have one more question for you. It's based on you talked about scanning and potentially doing the scanning work effort and using an outside solution to do the scanning. When you do the maps, you mentioned that they were kept at scale. Do they print back out at scale, or are they?
Yes. Yeah. So they're one for one essentially. So they will scan, any good backfile vendor is going to scan them at scale, and then they go into Laserfiche at scale. So that means that if you need to reproduce that map in paper for some reason, you know, a 46 by 36 map, you can do that. It holds the size of any document that's put into it. So.
And I just want to speak to the backfile. If you engage a backfile vendor, please reach out to your Laserfiche rep if you already have Laserfiche, so that we can work with the backfile vendor specifically directly to make sure that everything is coming back and going to be put into Laserfiche in a way that you guys, the team and the staff at the municipality can view it and find it and search it. So we're happy to consult with you at any time regarding your needs for backfile. We don't do backfile here at ICC Community Development, but we do support those solutions, and we'll work with you as a consultant to try to help you navigate that whole atmosphere of converting records from paper to digital. So with that, I really appreciate everyone's time today. My name again is Liz Mistretta, and you just heard from Brian Hoodie, who is our solution architect. And we would be pleased to hear from anyone here. If you have any questions or concerns, please let us know, and we'll be happy to reach out to you or put you in contact with your direct solution account executive here at ICC Community Development. And with that, have a wonderful day.